That was horrible.
Hey, Isaac.
Hey, Derek.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
I noticed you have a cup of water in your hand.
Yeah. What's wrong with it? Is water okay?
Where did you get that water?
I got it from the water cooler in the office.
Oh, no. Not the...
What is it?
Oh,
Oh, no.
Watch out! There's a shark in your water!
Dun, dun,
Oh, no.
dun, dun,
Quick,
dun,
spill it on the
dun,
floor.
dun, 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 boo! Welcome back to That Was Horrible, another episode where we review the worst reviewed horror movies of our time and give them as best a review we can. This week we watched Ghost Shark, a wonderful movie suggested to us by my coworker, actually. His name is Joseph. Thank you, Joseph, for recommending this wonderful movie.
Wonderful. There's like
a
12
wonderful
L's.
time,
At least.
is what I can say. Can I say that?
Yeah, you can say that. This is it's a movie. We'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is. So, Ghost Shark 2013 is when this movie came out.
Not too long ago. Only 10 years ago. It's probably is that our most recent one we've watched?
I think... No, because I think Bye Bye Man was 2017 or something like that.
Oh, okay. So,
well, and I mean, Children of the Corn that came out today.
I guess you're right.
So this movie, though, is sitting at a rotten rating of 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is actually our highest rated movie so far, I think. I'm pretty sure. Because we've kind of set a cap for ourselves at like 30% is like the max we'll go for.
Yeah, it really depends on the movie. If enough people suggest it and it's above that, we would go for that. But as of right now, I think going 30 and below is probably a good cap for us.
And even that is like, I'd say 29 is a little high. Mm-hmm. It was really just like, it was a recommendation. Looked pretty bad, so we had to check it out.
Honestly, just so bad, but great at the same time.
Absolutely. So the audience... is sitting at 20% though, which is actually lower than the critics, which I think is super rare.
Doesn't happen often that the audience is lower than like the critics rating.
Absolutely. Letterboxd is sitting at 1.9. IMDb is at 3.3, which is like, it's got to be a record low.
Really though.
And then Metacritic is about 32. So I feel like it's kind of around that same vein, about 30% of whatever their review system is. And then I pulled some reviews for this.
Yeah, let's hear them. Let's get into this. What do people have to say about the wonderful Ghost Shark?
So Mia says, this movie is one of the most amazingly immaculate movies I have ever watched. The CGI was superb. It made it look so realistic, and it's one of the best cinematic performances I've seen out of my life. 10 out of 10 movie. Please watch it. It changed my life forever.
Is that right? That's interesting.
So
I think she should see some more movies, maybe.
So, when I was looking for the reviews, it was like looking at a bad Amazon review. You know how like you go through those Amazon, like people just do jokes. It felt like that. Like then there was one by someone by the name of Mick that said, this movie changed my life. This is not an over-exaggeration. The stunning cinematography and visual effects have dumbfounded me and reformed my entire view of cinema.
Oh, no.
He goes on to demand an Oscar. It's like a 3-page review.
Oh, goodness.
And then this one takes the cake, though. Gary says, it's a 1-star review. He says, the guy on the boat goes to reload his rifle, and it looks like he's grabbing shotgun shells. The rest of the movie is not this good.
I mean, there you have it. Gary's kind of got it right on the head there.
Yeah. So this one was written and directed by Griff First.
Do you ever notice a lot of these that we review were written and directed by the same person?
Yes.
I feel like 70% of what we've done have been written and directed by one person.
It kind of feels like a lot of movies that end up in this genre are like passion projects that they like have this great idea and want to go forward with it.
It also just seems like, nobody else is going to put up this idea. Nobody else would direct this if you write it. Nobody
that's true.
The other way around,
So he additional writing credits, people who worked with Griff First, Eric Forsberg and Scott Foy. So Griff First, basically all he's done is shark movies. He's done.
Seems like those like discount bin at Walmart, like those $5 DVDs you can grab.
So he's done Swamp Shark, Alligator Alley, Trailer Park Shark, Nightmare Shark, Arachnoquake.
Arachnoquake.
I don't know what's going on
there. Man, that's gotta be a movie.
I think it's on a list of movies to watch, so we may get back to that one
day.
Eric Forsberg. He's done like nothing, and so is Scott Foy. He's also done nothing. They've just kind of like only done a couple things. So good on them. I mean, they did Ghost Shark, and that's really what matters.
Really, do they
at the end of the
need to give us anything else?
Honestly.
I really feel like that's all we need from them.
It should be mentioned also that this movie is not labeled a comedy. I checked everywhere I could. It is a fantasy horror movie. And also, I did find out it is a sci-fi TV movie. So that is
Sci-fi is like SYFY sci-fi.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. That is a good clarification there. So what are some of your expectations for this one, Isaac?
So yeah, I went in thinking this is going to be garbage, but in a fun way. Like, it'll be so garbage that I will enjoy it the whole time. Not that it'll like be so terrible, but I guess, some terribleness can be fun. I thought it should be dubbed as a horror comedy. I feel like I definitely was going to end up going through this movie thinking, why did they not just call it a horror comedy? It probably would have been better had it been given that title there. I figured I'd be rooting for the ghost shark more than I would for the people. And then I thought, as usually comes with like watching something that is going to be laughably bad, it's like I feel like it would lose its humor about halfway through the movie. I was a little bit worried about that. I'm like, it'll be fun, and then we'll reach a point where we're like, okay, well now I have to make it through the rest of this, right? So those are my expectations. How about you?
So my first one, I love puns. I wrote some killer dialogue. Killer in quotations. Killer dialogue. I wrote some horrible characters to fill the space between shark stuff.
Yep, just like more. It's just bait for the shark, basically.
We just saw Cocaine Bear, and that movie had yes, great movie. Go see it.
So great.
But that movie had some likable characters, but also some not so likable characters, and I feel like they were just there to literally feed the bear. And so I was kind of expecting the same from this, where there would just be some kind of crappy characters there to feed the shark,
just there to feed to the ghost shark.
And then I was hoping for maybe some cool kills, and we'll see how we fared.
I feel like really what pulled us into this was like we looked up ghost shark and we got a couple like shots of some of the kills, and that was enough to reel us in.
Oh, absolutely.
There are some kills in here, so that's probably that's a good expectation right there, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump into the plot.
Yeah, so let's dive in, shall we? Let's dive into the plot.
Swim through this plot.
Oh man, how many water shark puns are we gonna make in this episode?
Just a shark ton.
So immediately we're caught up with we find these rednecks fishing. I literally wrote rednecks fishing. Here we go. Like this is where we're at.
And we should tell you that the rednecks are fishing on this boat. It wants you to think they're in the middle of nowhere. It is so obviously a swimming pool of some sort with a black tarp around it.
Like the third note I wrote is they're definitely not in water. It's just a boat in the darkness.
Yes.
Any shot that is of the water is separate from them. So like could have been completely like CGI later or something. There's never a shot of them in the boat and in the water.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen.
It is crazy. I should mention this movie had a $1.8 million budget. But I can't find anywhere how much it grossed, and I think that's because it was a TV movie.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
All right. Anyway, we're on a boat. We got 3 rednecks.
Yeah, so we got one redneck girl who was like recording their entire time, like they're sitting here recording her and her daddy who were out fishing, right? So the two of them, I guess they're trying to make. I assume they're trying to catch a big enough fish to enter in some like competition to get like prize money.
I completely forgot that was even a thing.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like barely mentioned between them in the dialogue. And then the third guy they're fishing with, it's his boat that they're on.
Yes.
And he's like the last year's champion. Mm-hmm. He even like brags to them. He's like, you'll never be the real winner. And like tips his hat and it's like fishing champion, fish fear me, women want me, that kind of stuff.
And we should mention that it is not a father and daughter. It is a boyfriend and girlfriend, I guess.
Is that what they are?
It has to be,
I
right?
did not know.
It seemed like there was some sort of romantic thing going on, and she was just calling him daddy to be like, hey, daddy.
I mean,
and if I'm wrong and it is a father and daughter situation, that's messed up.
It's very possible. I guess that makes it worse when I wrote, why did she pour water on his rod? Because there's one point he's fishing for, I think, the shark, and it's getting away from him, and it's grinding the gears in his fishing rod, and he's like, cool me down or something. She takes a cup of water and pours it on his fishing rod.
That's right.
Which I know nothing about fishing. Maybe this is a totally normal thing, but it was very odd that happened.
This is definitely the movie to get our information from.
The dialogue was so wild. Just things that they said to each other. But like, surprisingly not poorly acted. They were all acting very honestly. I was not taken out by any of their performances thus far. Although I did think like their performances, like this feels racist to rednecks. I don't know how, but like it does.
No, it really did. It felt like super stereotypical. So they don't spend a whole lot of time on this boat before they're trying to reel something in, and they found the big fish. They see it in the water.
Shark. And it eludes them, right? They can't catch it.
No,
and it starts trying to swim away.
But they catch a big fish, and then the shark bites into it and flips the half of the fish on the boat, and so the old winner's like, haha, you didn't win
You'll
this
never
time.
be me. And the guy's like, yeah, that shark just cost me $30,000.
Yeah,
and
but
so
it's so funny to me because there's only one fish.
Yeah.
There's only one fish
That's
in this.
it.
There's a fish and there's a shark.
Yep.
And that is it.
That's all. So his natural reactions get so upset that he pulls out this comically long gun. It looks like it's from an episode of Looney Tunes.
Really though.
Pulls out this gun with this huge, such a long barrel and just starts shooting at it.
Yep.
And then he tells his daughter, girlfriend, not quite sure, to go get this crossbow for him.
Oh yeah.
And he points it at the shark. She takes the gun from him now, which every shot that it shows this gun again, it looks like it gets longer every scene.
Really,
it's so
though.
funny to me.
I was expecting the bang thing to come out of the end.
Yeah, exactly. Like the little flag that says bang on the end of it. So yeah, he's pointing this big crossbow at it now. I don't know how many weapons he brought on this boat to go fishing, but he's got this big old revolver with a long barrel. Then he pulls out this crossbow, points it straight at the shark, and he goes, "Come on, Sally Tuna." Great dialogue, love it. But then he asks her to get something else.
He's like, okay, now, baby, go get me my hot sauce. See, it has to be a relationship because he calls her baby.
It's just why do you want the hot sauce? I was so confused. I was like, is that for him? Is that for the shark? I'm not sure. Wasn't quite sure. So she brings it to him, and then he just starts dumping hot sauce onto the shark. It's nuts. I hated it, but I loved it.
It's so strange. I'm going to cause this shark as much pain as possible.
Yeah.
Because he lost me a tournament.
So I think they did manage to get a couple shots, bullets into the shark. They were able to get a cross bolt in it. It's got hot sauce on it, and the cherry on top, he has her grab a grenade. Why do they have so much artillery on this one boat to go fishing? I don't understand. So yeah, then he pulls the pin, throws it into its mouth, and then it explodes in a crazy fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Huge explosion. Gone. The shark would be gone, and so would they.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're in a small little space anyway. It
yeah, exactly.
Killed everybody.
So then we get a sequence of the shark, the dead shark that was just exploded, finds its way into this little cave.
It's still swimming, by the way.
Yeah, it's swimming just fine.
Ate a grenade and it's fine.
Swims all the way into this cave that it can swim into, and on the walls of the cave there are these weird cave drawings that start to glow that I guess make the make the ghost shark is what happens. We are 5 minutes into this movie.
Literally 5 minutes.
We checked exactly how long we were deep into this. So we were 5 minutes deep into this movie. And so then almost instantly the shark comes back, takes out 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
Within 5 minutes we've got the origin of the ghost shark and 2 kills under its belt. Yep. 2 victims. Done. 5 minutes.
Pretty gruesome kills right off the bat.
No time.
And we were watching this with a group of our friends, and at that moment that the shark went into that little cove, we were like, "What is happening?" We see the hieroglyphics; they started to glow. We all cheered, and I could feel the energy was right. We were like, we're in for a long, great time.
Fun time we're gonna have." Yeah. So yeah, it kills all the people on the boat pretty easily. It actually makes real short work of anyone. It's usually just a fast shot of the shark going across the screen, and then someone is in half. You know, they're missing a body part, spurting blood everywhere. Then they're just dead. It's crazy.
So yeah, the shark attacks the two rednecks.
Yep.
I hate to call them that, but I mean, what else? And they're dead or they're gone. Their bodies just disappear. And then the other guy, the boat owner, wakes up. Because he had fallen down.
Yeah, because he got a scrap with the redneck when he was like, "I told you not to bring any guns on my boat," and he pushes him and he hits his head on a ladder or something like that. So he wakes up now.
Yeah, and he sees what's going on and he grabs the camera. He's like, "I'm gonna record this," and he starts pointing the camera. And then you actually see this kind of gruesome shot where the guy gets killed and the camera falls. And immediately as the camera fell, I was like, "There's gonna be blood on that screen. There's gonna be and."
Splash!
What do you have? It splash of blood.
Blood onto the screen.
And then we cut to some kids on the beach.
Ah, love it. Nothing better than some college kids on the beach. With some wild music and dialogue "Hey bro, you gonna let me bust the cherry on this jet ski?" It's that bad. Instantly I said, I hate this ensemble already.
Absolutely.
Which is good because they're probably just ghost shark food, right?
They're just gonna die. there's like 3 or 4 girls. I lost track. There were so many random characters in this movie. But there were like 3 or 4 girls. Everyone's wearing a bikini.
Yep.
Every single character in this movie. I mean, except for the boys, but like whatever. And they're like, I told you I'm the total package, baby. Like they're saying, like one of the girls said that.
Just obnoxious garbage dialogue.
And all the
College
boys are
kids
like
suck.
trying to make one of the guys like sexist because he's like trying to be a nice guy, but they're like, check her out, check her body out. I'm like, what? Why? Why do we have to be
so
gross?
Weird. So yeah, we hate these college kids instantly, and it's at this point that like it seems like every shot had a different filter on it.
Oh yeah,
like it almost seems like it was a mixture of like shots they actually got, but on different times on different days, and then also like a mixture of like stock footage. Like they did not seem to go well together. They just seemed like there was a difference in every single shot. They did not seem cohesive as one. Right?
Yeah, for sure. So then all these kids are like walking up to the beach, they're hanging out, and then it cuts to this old man in a cave.
Yeah.
For like no reason.
This sad old caveman, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Who's got some kind of sad lore with a wife. He like looks at a picture frame all sad. It's not incredibly clear where he is, but we later find out he's like in the dungeonous basement of a lighthouse that he tends to, which is so strange.
And at first I thought it was a castle, so I was like, oh, cool house.
There's a suit of armor in there.
It's a lighthouse. Yeah, there's a suit of armor. He's got like weapons on the wall. It's so weird. Anyway, so it cuts to him. He's looking sad, and then it comes back to the kids.
Yeah, and some like awful GoPro shots of them riding the jet skis that they brought. Like it's again,
the
incohesive,
GoPros.
really bad. But again, like surprisingly believable. All of them, I was like, there's something about your acting. Like the movie as a whole is on the same level as you. You fit in just fine.
Yeah, yeah.
So like
they
the
knew
acting
what
was
they
fine.
were doing.
Exactly. I think they understood the assignment.
Really though. So then you've got one of the girls is like laying on a beach floaty in the middle of the ocean. Like she's a good like 50, 60 feet out. And it was definitely trying to be Jaws, right? Like have the girl in the bikini on the beach.
You can definitely
floaty.
tell how much of Jaws like inspired this movie quite a bit. I think also before this thing happens, there's they find the boat, like their dad's boat, right?
Yes.
And they find
it's kind of happening simultaneously.
They find his hat, the fishing champion hat's got blood on it. Like, oh no, Dad's dead. There's blood on the hat. I love that hat.
So yeah, I guess it kind of tells you that the 2 girls that really remain our main 2 protagonists through the movie, their dad was the gross man on the boat who won all the fishing competitions. So yeah, they're just like sitting there. They see his boat drifting, and he never goes into the deck. He's always standing there at the wheel.
They're like, was Dad supposed to go? Did he have a fishing trip? I don't know. It was kind of dumb.
It was very dumb.
But yeah, then we come to the scene of the girl laying on the floaty, and she gets kind of like burst up from underneath, like a little like air bubble. Yeah. And at first she's like, come on, stop it. Like, are you kidding me? And then she gets thrown like 10 feet into the air. And then immediately she comes down, she's like, are you kidding me? Like asking for one of her friends. I'm like, you were just thrown so far. What one of your friends could pull that off? Like physically, none of them could do that. That's so stupid.
But she is convinced it's her friends. I mean, you wouldn't expect a ghost shark, right?
You would never expect a ghost shark.
No.
You wouldn't ghost a shark. But so like then you see the ghost shark. It's daylight. This ghost shark looks ridiculous in the daytime.
So
it looks fairly cool in the night because it kind of glows, and so you can see it in the water. It looks really cool. But in the daytime, it looks so stupid.
If you don't end up watching this movie, definitely Google ghost shark and just look at the pictures.
Yeah,
of
it's
the shark.
Wow. I don't even know how to describe the graphics on that shark.
It's great.
They sure try.
Sure try.
That's for sure. There's like a mixture of like shots where they had a completely CGI like shark that they kind of added the effects to and all that kind of stuff. And then there's also other shots that are obviously like they built some kind of puppet that they then added ghost effects to.
Yeah,
And it's a weird mixture of the both of them. Most of the time it's the weird CGI one. But yeah, so then the shark starts to pursue her, and one of her, like 2 of her friends who are on one of the jet skis come up to her, and she straight up takes them and throws them into the water so she can jet ski away. It's like, are you, these are your friends, and you're like, sorry, have fun with this shark, I'm gonna jet ski away from you guys.
Yep. And then doesn't she get bit, like, off the jet ski?
Yeah. She's driving away, not fast enough, because that shark comes in this like so quick. It was so fast. I actually like half missed it because I was writing a note, and just quick shark flies across the screen, and then she's cut in half.
She's cut in half.
The top half of her body is gone, and that's all you see of her.
And it's pretty bloody. Like for a TV movie, I was
honestly
shocked.
Though.
So they're all freaking out.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And the sound mixing needs so much help.
Oh my
They
goodness,
did not
yes.
layer like these sounds and the recorded dialogue of people running around in a panic because you can hear distinctly everyone's lines. It was not a mob cacophony.
No, yeah.
It was just all of their lines played at the same time. It was so weird.
So then the police show up and the mayor shows up.
Yeah, the police and the mayor. Mind you, the policeman looks like some kind of like Walmart brand version of Willem Dafoe. What do
Yeah,
they
he
call
really
him? Willem
does.
DaFriend is
Willem
what they called
DaFriend.
him. Sheriff Willem DaFriend.
So they're like investigating it, and obviously our protagonist girls and a couple guys are going to be the ones that are like talking to the mayor.
Yeah,
right.
It was
'Cause
also
they saw everything.
It was at this point where like, okay, it seems like everyone has run away from the thing. It is now like our main protagonist talking to like the mayor and the cop, right? Things have kind of settled, like tensions are high, but things have settled down. The camera was still being held by hand.
Yes,
And it was kind of
it
like this
was.
like shaky. And then I started to notice almost every single shot in this movie was held by hand and kind of like this shaky effect to
Yeah.
it. I'm like, that was a choice. I don't know if it was the right one.
I don't know if it was the
because
right one.
What the hell?
But I mean, you look at 2013, like, I guess maybe shaky cam was still cool then.
I guess so.
Cloverfield was still fresh on everybody's
give them
mind.
that.
So yeah, they talk to the mayor and the cop, and they're like, all right, well, you need to come back to the station. We got
Yeah,
this camera we
'Cause
found.
they don't believe them for a second, right?
No.
They're like, there's no way there's this ghost shark. The old
Yeah.
man from the lighthouse basement is here for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's just like surveying the scene, and he definitely seems like he knows what's going on,
Yeah.
right? So I literally just wrote, the old man knows about ghosts. Yeah.
And I wrote, mayor is being a mayor for sure.
And I think he even like makes some kind of jab at the mayor and Willem DaFriend about how like you know what's going on, like quit
Yeah,
kidding yourself.
that's
I'm
right.
like, okay, so the town has some kind of lore about how like maybe they're trying to cover up what happened with this shark in the past and they know about it.
Yeah.
But now they're 0 days without shark incident, and that's not going to help the mayor's re-election campaign.
Mayor's not going to get reelected if there's a ghost shark on the loose.
Exactly. There's another like really cheap tropey thing that they do throughout. It's like, oh, he's up for re-election. He's got to keep this under wraps. Make sure nobody hears about a ghost shark. That's going to be
No.
really bad for me.
Of course not.
He even he tells the sheriff to hire shark bounty hunters. Basically,
Oh, yeah.
he's like, put up a bounty for the shark. We got to make
So
sure it
silly.
happens. At this point, I was like, I want to watch Jaws now. More than anything, I'm like, I'm
Right?
gonna go watch Jaws instead of this one.
Should have just turned it off and watched Jaws.
The music was so dramatic over some very mediocre shots.
Well, then you had so they all disperse, right? And then two of the girls, like the two main girls, are walking through this giant green field on the side of the road and just looking sad into the distance. Like their dad just died.
And there was some Oscar-worthy music playing behind it. I was like, where did they find this?
But
and it did not fit the rest of the movie at all.
No, it didn't. And she had her arm awkwardly around her neck, like she's never hugged another person in her life.
Yeah.
And they're just walking all sad. And then they end up back home. And
The production level felt like it was like a commercial that just kept going.
oh yeah,
Like it's just a never-ending commercial. Like that's how I would describe the production value of this movie.
for sure. So then they're like, well, we got a pool party to go to tonight. I know our parents just died. We got a pool party to go to.
Yeah, sorry guys, got this pool party to go to. I think before that, is that when they go to the police station to look over the footage?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So they do. They go to the police station because he's got this camera.
Yeah, he's got the camcorder that the redneck girl in the beginning was
Yep.
filming on, right? And it's
Yep.
got some evidence on it.
So they're sitting there in the police station, and we're greeted with this outside shot showing them on the inside. And it genuinely looked like they had taken a TV or something,
Yeah.
and put them on the TV on a fake window.
It was so
It
bad.
was so bad.
They were just trying to do one of those transitions where you go through the building and the shot
Yeah.
doesn't cut, but it
it's-
was done so poorly.
They
should have
obviously
just not done
didn't
it.
know how to do it.
No,
so
yeah.
they're like, okay, we're gonna go as close as we can, and then just cut to the inside.
Yeah, just tried to find some crappy YouTube tutorial on how to do this, Some 12-year-old taught them how to do it. It was terrible.
But then you get one of the weirdest scenes in the movie where you have this cop who's showing them the video of their parents dying over and over. And like some of the kids are like, no, play it again.
Yeah, play it again. Look
play
at that.
Again, play it again.
And there's a little bit of evidence of a ghost shark on there. It's not enough to convince the cop, but there's a slight bit. There's enough for them to like keep looking after it for the rest of the movie, right?
And you know, adults be adults. They don't believe anything.
I honestly couldn't tell whose side I was on at this side of the movie. I'm like, I don't know if I'm with the cop or with the kids. I think I'm still with the shark. Yeah, definitely the shark. But then, while they distract the cop for a second, one of the protagonist girls just steals the files from this police computer. So easy. How does she do it, Derek?
She just takes a flash drive, plugs it in, says, okay, I got it, pulls the flash drive out, and walks away.
It's 3 seconds and it's on there. I'm like, yeah, that's completely how stealing files from a police computer totally works. Just
hacker extraordinaire.
A thumb drive in there. It's great. So yeah, then they have to go to this pool party, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and I think before they go to the pool party, they I think it's when there's a shot. I remember writing about it. They are in the car and it's supposed to be raining, but I don't think it was raining when they filmed it. So they put like, it looked like when you go into iMovie and you put like a filter, like effect over the thing. There was like raindrops on the screen. It didn't look like it was raining. There were just raindrops on top of. It was so bad.
And like there was someone like shoveling buckets of water onto the car.
Yeah, exactly.
It felt that way, right? Because it was just wet. And then rain on the screen.
But I think they were trying to ask the older man about like, hey, what do you know? It seems like you know stuff.
Yeah.
And like A+ acting from this disgruntled old man because he's just like, I'm not gonna help you guys, whatever.
And then you see this dramatic shot of him just pour himself some whiskey for probably the first of 30 times in the movie.
Honestly, though,
we get it. He's a drunk.
We get it. He likes the alcohol.
He likes
Thank
to
you very
drink
much. So yeah, then we come to the pool party where everyone there is terribly acted. There's the party starts with a guy walking into the party with two boxes of like beers, and he's carrying them around like they weigh nothing.
There was nothing in there.
There's no beer in those.
No.
He makes them look like they're heavy for a second, then he transitions both of them to one hand, and he's carrying them just fine. I'm like, there's nothing in those. Absolutely not. Yeah. There's also a moment where like a guy comes out of the pool. They're playing ping pong. And he takes the ping pong ball, lights it on fire, and then lights his cigarette with it.
So unnecessary.
So unnecessary, and it, like, never came up again. It was so strange.
Let's be honest, though. Pretty badass.
Very cool. I wanted to see more of that guy.
I want to see that guy light more ping pong balls on
I think that was the bottle kill. I think that was the same guy.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
So yeah, let's get to that.
So yeah,
they're in the pool. Not much to mention. It's kids having a pool party. They start to have like a chicken fight, you know? Yeah. It's so funny the way movies think parties happen.
Right.
Because everyone's like, oh yeah, everyone around the party's like watching them and they're like so into this chicken fight between them. Nobody likes these things. Nobody likes to do them. Nobody likes to watch them. That's such a lie. But then two guys get into a fight real quick, and one of them like punches the other through the fence, and I think that's the ping pong ball guy.
Yeah.
And he proceeds to come and try to do a backflip into the pool. And we get one of the best. All of the kills are incredible.
They're
from
so
this
good.
Shark. They're so out of this world.
Good. And this is literally out of this world.
So he's doing a backflip off of the diving board into the pool, and before he can hit the water, wham! Straight up through the water comes the ghost shark. And we get a shot from behind the shark as it's flying like forwards. And at first it looks like it's going like deep into the water, and then you realize, oh no, it flew up into space forever.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
And so you sit there staring at the screen like, what is this?
And everyone's looking very confused because this dude just like went up basically into a puff of blood mist.
Yeah.
You know, he's gone so quick.
And then, so there's someone holding a champagne bottle on a tray, and what happens? But his head falls out of the sky and lands perfectly neck down into the bottle.
They got this awesome looking it was pretty terrible.
It was a horrible prosthetic.
This prosthetic of this like severed head lands on this bottle. Then everybody starts screaming. Everybody starts running away. I think it gets one of the other friends.
Yeah,
it gets got.
Yeah, there's a guy who's like trying to get out of the pool and he needs help.
They're doing it the most difficult way too. Like, help me out of the pool, man! And he's like trying to climb upside down from the diving board.
The diving board. Yeah, he's like grabbing onto the diving board. Why go for the diving board? Like, why not climb up the stairs? There's gotta be stairs, right?
The most difficult way they could have done that. And then I'm pretty sure he gets got by the ghost shark at that point or something.
So then this kid, before all this happened, is like playing on his BlackBerry.
Yeah.
Like a good old BlackBerry from back in time. And he drops it into the pool. But then, after all this happened, he calls one of the other girls on that phone.
And I don't think she answers. Like, I tried to call you, like, on your BlackBerry that just got drenched in the
no
water.
wonder it didn't work.
Yeah,
idiot.
honestly, though. It's so, like, wishy-washy on the technology that they have, because sometimes it's like, there was a moment where I think she was, like, FaceTiming someone on her iPhone, and then there's literally the same character later on is using, like, what looks like a burner cell phone you can get at, like, Walmart or something like that. It was so strange. But yeah, they, so like the morning comes and they're investigating this shark death scene, right? They find pieces of the kid around there. Mayor wants to cover it up, obviously, we can't have word getting out before the big election. And then they find actual factual evidence of there being a ghost shark, right? They find his head, they find his, I don't even think he was holding this object when he died, but there's his hand grasping a chunk of surfboard that had like a shark bite out of it.
I thought my interpretation of that was that the shark was like teleporting objects from the beach. But we never saw anybody die on that surfboard.
No, exactly. It was so strange. I don't understand that. But then they find a telephone because there were people recording at that party, right? So they find just whole footage of the guy about to do a backflip gets hit by the shark, right? So they see it in all of its glory. And they still
don't believe it.
They're still not that into it.
Oh no, that's not real.
Which creates some tension between like the mayor and his son, who's in our little group of friends. You know, he's like, I don't want you hanging out with my son anymore. You're a bad influence, and they end up running away with him.
And then when the son is running away, the mayor sticks his head out and he's like, "I'm gonna beat you like you stole something."
That was such a bad line.
It's so bad.
Why did they put that in there? That's so terrible.
Problematic.
Honestly,
There's so many things wrong with that.
I can't imagine why they thought that was a good idea.
I wrote that down because it shocked me.
But yeah, then we get a great sequence of basically like a montage of shark kills.
Best part of the movie.
Yeah, because now what we understand is the lore of this, or like how this shark works, is that anywhere there is water, this shark can be. And you get a little bit of like a warning because it starts to glow and you hear this like rumbling electric sound.
Yeah.
And so we get a couple of different sequences, right? So we get a decent amount of build-up too. We got like kids playing in their backyard on a slip and slide, right? Which happens to be a slip and slide in the shape of a shark, which is terrible. We get one shot of this kid who takes a bunch of mud in a cup and pours it on a car. And at first I was like, oh, what a shitty kid. Like how rude of this guy. And then he gets in the car.
Yep,
he's like 12. Gets in this car and then drives around just like literally the next street, and there's like a car wash being done by a bunch of girls in bikinis. I was like, oh my god, he went to dirty the car so that they could clean it because he wanted to get a bikini car wash. That's nuts. I can't believe this. And then there's also a shot of it's like a plumber.
Yep, the plumber
coming into this house to help like fix the pipes underneath the sink.
And I wrote sharks in toilets now when he walked into that house. We'll come back to that.
Sharks in the plumbing. Yeah, this plumber's first day went bad. This 12-year-old, like, I don't understand why these women cleaned this kid's car. Clearly he should not be driving it.
And they're like taunting him.
They're having no problems. And he's sitting there like wide-eyed smiles like, wow, yeah, this is great. Love this. And they have no problem with it.
Yeah, so then they play out kind of how you expect, right?
The kid's pretty much exactly how you expect.
The kid's on the slip and slide. He slides into the shark's mouth. The actual ghost shark comes out and bites him.
It slides the opposite direction, right? So they're like opposing forces.
Yomp.
There goes that kid. Gone.
It was great.
Then his kids run away to find their mom. But those kids were not running away like their friend just died.
No, they were running away like a director told them to run because they didn't understand what was happening.
Then the plumber's underneath the sink, and then he gets pulled into it. Looks like he's going through like a wood chipper, honestly.
Oh yeah,
very bloody kills.
Very bloody kill. Yeah, and so he kind of just like gets sucked up into the pipes, and then the kid at the car wash. He's sitting there, he's all grossed out.
Yeah, there's water being splashed onto the windshield because it's a car wash, right? Which slowly turns red and bloody.
Yep. And so you can assume that the shark's coming out of the hose and killing people that way. And the car gets covered in blood. You see this kid get traumatized.
It was wild, but it was such a fun sequence of kills.
It was great, honestly. Like, if you watch anything from this movie, I would say that that's one of the sections you should find.
Yes, absolutely. Just find that section. The movie's on YouTube.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube, so go there, check it out. Then we jump back to the lighthouse where the keeper guy is.
Yeah, the old man decides to go. The cave that this shark was resurrected in is like a couple feet from his house. He can walk to it.
Walk there. And the shot of it is like it's just like a little teeny picture, and it looks like a lighthouse. Yeah. I mean, not a lighthouse. It looks like a mini golf course.
It looks like a mini golf course. Yeah, it looks like a shitty set from like Six Flags exhibit or something like that. Like, it does not look like a real location. It looks so fabricated, like it doesn't actually exist. And he just finds the ghost shark's corpse just chilling in there, like beached up in there, surrounded by the walls of the hieroglyphics, and it's just there.
It's just there.
Rotting away.
It's chilling.
So it's
having a good time.
What do we have to do to get rid of this now? Clearly he knows where the corpse is. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do with this.
I don't know. But the kids decide that they're going to go find him. Because they're like, there was that guy at the beach and he knew what was going on. We're going to go interrogate him.
The way these shots looked made it feel like it was that one, was it Nickelodeon show, H2O, about mermaids in Australia and stuff. It felt like that. It felt really much like that. And their dialogue with each other especially. Like, one of the friends, as they're coming up to the lighthouse, is like, oh, I don't want to walk through here. I'm scared about snakes, you know? I'm like, there is a ghost shark. And your concern is snakes? You're kidding me. This is a joke.
It's ridiculous.
And then they're like, come on, he's not even home. How do they know he's not home? Because his boat is still in front of it. It doesn't seem like he has a car that could be in front of this lighthouse. So I don't understand how they're like, yeah, he's not home. So they break into his house.
And they know exactly where to go, too. They just go straight down into his basement.
They don't go up to the top of the lighthouse, which personally, that's what I would have done.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since the entrance to the basement was hidden. They had to find it.
They know a lot for not knowing anything.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't want to waste any. They wasted no time getting into there.
They really did.
And they get down there, and the old man is already down there. I'm like, how do you get people to leave your house? Immediately smash some glass thing on the wall next to them. That's what he does. As soon as he finds them there, just smash.
But then he says, "You're here about the shark, aren't you?" I wrote that how he said it. "You're here about the shark, aren't you?"
I hate it.
It's so stupid. But then he just takes a drink of whiskey and falls asleep.
Yeah.
He just falls asleep on the ground.
Yeah, and so then they pick him up and put him on a boat. They find out that he knows more about this. He had a wife that died that is somehow connected to it.
Yeah, we don't really know too much about it yet. But that's what we know, and he's sleeping now.
I was at this point, I'm like, there are too many people, give me more unnecessary shark kills, right? Then we get a shot of one of the two girls in the bathtub.
Yep.
And of course, here comes the shark again.
Yep.
And just basically, it's not even a bathtub. It's like a hot tub inside.
Huge.
It's gigantic.
It's like an entire room-sized bathtub.
And it basically gets turned into like a blender with the shark thrashing her around in it. And she actually goes submerged. She's underwater.
Yeah.
And then the people, her sister and the friend come in to rescue her. They actually end up pulling her out. She's fine.
Somehow.
She's got one gash on her leg.
One teeny tiny bite.
The water was all bloody. She was being thrown about, and that's all she has.
And you know what I wrote? Never let your friends bathe alone.
Really though, yeah.
That's what this movie taught me.
Bathe in pairs always. You need a bathing buddy. But the strangest part, and I honestly feel like if this movie had more of a cult following, if they were to do a live something like Rocky Horror Picture Show does, if people were to dress in costume as these characters, they would dress as this girl, because what they do is they don't wrap it in bandages, they wrap it in some kind of cloth, and then 8 watches.
Yeah.
Different watch bands to cover up the wound.
A bunch of watches are more readily available than some
It's
tape
so strange.
or something.
Yeah,
like
but
a belt.
But then after this, when they're all trying to talk about the shark, one of the guys is like, "Oh, I know how it works. Anywhere there's water, bam! I've just had this revelation. I don't understand how he came to this." So strange. But yeah, then they're driving out. I think they're going to a museum to find out more about the history of the town.
Yeah.
And on their way there, they pass by. They stop at this building that is being demolished.
Yep.
And the kid's dad is like, "Oh yeah, my dad's demolition team, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, okay, yeah, that's
so obviously coming back.
Okay, cool, yeah, now I know we're going to blow something up later in this movie because you felt the need to stop by this building.
Literally.
Stakes are pretty high right now. You had no reason to stop at this, building being demolished.
So then they're talking about some of the kills that had happened, and someone says one of my favorite lines, a car was hot waxed by the girl washing it.
Oh, no.
The dialogue in this movie is insane.
Really, though. It's so wild. But they come into this the museum 2 of the friends go in. One of them stays outside to smoke.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I don't...
He just smokes now.
It's just strange. Yeah, it didn't seem like part of his character until right now.
Yep.
So they go inside. They meet this museum worker who looks like Jane Lynch.
Yeah, he does.
And we find out, so it seems like they wrote a lot of lore about this town, because suddenly I was like, wow, there's a lot of background I have to learn about this town now.
Yep.
Feels kind of unnecessary, but like cool to know that they went deep enough into this movie to have lore.
I was into it. I thought it was cool. But they were looking at like a book. They were looking at a book with a bunch of scribbles on it. Looked like the Slender Man book.
The town's history is written in like the Necronomicon.
It really is.
It's so nuts. It looks
a grimoire.
like, yeah, it's some kind, they literally call it that. It's a grimoire, but yeah, there's some like Babadook, like Slender Man looking drawings in there, which don't seem to connect to the shark at all.
Yeah. So this whole time we're waiting for like some sort of shark attack, right?
Yeah.
Because you feel it.
It is honestly the driest portion of the movie. Really, though.
Literally.
And then we find out the guy who stayed out has a cigarette addiction just to set off the sprinklers.
Literally the only reason.
Because he's smoking, he actually watches, so the grimoire goes missing. He watches the old lighthouse man walk out with it.
Darnell Finch took the grimoire!
Doesn't think anything of it. He's fine. No problem with it, right? So then he throws his unfinished cigarette into the trash, which starts a fire, which sets off the sprinklers. Now the shark is back in business, guys. Because it starts to flood this whole museum. Within a couple of seconds, the museum is like ankle deep in water.
Yeah.
And then we get this great slow motion shot of the museum worker getting attacked by the shark. I know that like every kill from the shark is just it flying across the screen through a person, and then they're missing a part of themselves.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
It's dumb.
So this
but
one was
cool.
like done in slow motion, and he's missing his arm after this. And he's like, he falls down to his knees in slow motion. There's blood spurting out of his mouth, and then he's dead.
Yep, he's just gone.
I felt nothing for them when any of them died.
Oh, me neither.
Like, that's the unfortunate thing is, like, at this point, I was like, there's so many kills going on, I don't really care about any of them.
No.
Again, I'm rooting for the shark more than anything.
Well, and I mean, if you think about it, like, we're animal lovers, too. So, like, I don't really care about people dying at all. All I want is, like, the shark to get revenge for getting a grenade shoved in its mouth.
Honestly, though, kind of deserved, like, it's justice, you know? And I think it got that tenfold. Then we get one of my favorite kills in the entire thing.
Yeah, dude.
Where it is like the I don't know, he's like the deputy of
the deputy.
the sheriff dude, right? He's at the office of the police place, right? Why don't I know names of the police station? He's at the police station, and he goes to get water from like the water cooler, takes a drink. You know exactly where that's going.
Oh,
the
yeah.
camera follows the shot of water, then lowers down onto his body to be like, he has ingested the water now. It's inside of him. I think it was glowing too when he took a drink of it. And then there was a long sequence of him flailing about on his way into the sheriff's office to see Willem, DaFriend, and the mayor.
Face convulse.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you know, his face is all contorting, and he's like thrashing and throwing things about the room. Then he makes it into the office, where he flails about again for another 10 seconds before it cuts away to the cop and the mayor. Then it cuts back to him, and he is completely sawed in half with the ghost shark coming up through him, wriggling its way out of him.
Back and forth.
It was absolute insanity, to which the cop and the mayor are kind of like, huh? And then it just cuts to the next scene. Immediately cuts to the next scene.
They're just cool with it.
Yeah.
They're just cool with it.
Like, sure, they were just like, wow, that sucked, but they're like, huh. That was basically the peak of their reaction, their emotion there. So nuts.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know how I would react if someone like got ripped in half from the inside out by a
More
shark.
than that, I think.
I would probably be a little scared. I'd never drink water again, honestly. So then they find out that their son, that the mayor's son had died.
Yes.
He was the one who was smoking.
He got got by the shark. He couldn't make it as they were running out of the museum, and he's laying against the wall. He's slipping about. He can't get it. Then a pretty slow kill, honestly. It just passes by him. Then again, most of the kills are just the top half of their body is gone, and they're bleeding profusely. That's kind of how it goes.
Yeah. I wrote, before he finds that out, he literally says, I don't want revenge. I want to win the election.
Yeah. That's really all he cares about. And then he decides he wants to go after the shark.
Okay, no, my son's dead.
Yeah, once his son is dead, really. He wants his kind of revenge, I guess. It's so stupid. There's a scene also where one of the guys and one of the main girls are driving and they find some kids in like this urban part of town.
This part killed me.
Where they're playing in a fire hydrant and the kid's yelling at them because they are in his way directly, like he's trying to drive. He's like, kids, you gotta get out of the way of the water. And these kids are coming up to him like, you're gonna have to try to stop us. They start to approach him kind of threateningly.
Yeah.
And he basically drives at them to, like, to simultaneously get them out of the way, but also protect them from the shark that'll probably fly out of this hydrant. And it does, because as soon as he drives towards it, the shark barrels into the side of the car, leaving this gnarly dent in the side of his truck.
Which the continuity there doesn't make any sense. The shark can definitely go through things.
Yeah, exactly.
Why use a car?
I don't know why it stopped there, right? It would have just gone through and eaten down. It is a ghost shark. It passes through things. That's kind of what it does. So yeah, then the car is totaled. It doesn't look like it's totaled. It looks like it's still usable, but they get out of it and they have to walk now. And the kids are walking towards them like, oh no, these kids are going to come beat me up. And then wham, here comes the shark again. Kills 2 kids.
2 kids.
And
honestly, the most brutal kill in the movie.
Honestly, because then they're like kind of flailing about just their legs as their top half of their torso are missing,
ripped in half.
And then it goes back to the friends who are looking confused and scared. And then it cuts back to them, and their legs are just twitching on the ground.
Twitching and contorting.
It was so actually icky. Kind of terrifying.
I hated it. It was gross.
Yeah. So then the mayor is trying to kill this shark. I don't know what his plan for this was.
No.
But the sheriff gets got pretty easily, and the mayor is running away. He runs into the toilet of the boat.
Well, they get on a boat to go out and kill the shark. I don't know what their plan was, but they're on a boat. They're trying to do it. And William DaFriend, though, he died. He died.
He was a just person, He was just trying his best as the sheriff.
So anyway, the mayor's sitting on the toilet. And remember earlier when I was like, sharks in the toilet now. Guess what?
Called that.
Sharks in the toilet. He gets pulled down.
That's one of the gruesome ones. Like, it's not a fast kill. That one, he gets slowly pulled into the toilet. Going into a blender. His body is like folding in half as it happens. It was a nasty kill.
So is it canon that in this world, wood chippers are also sharks? Or sharks are also wood chippers?
I think a shark is a wood chipper. All sharks are wood chippers, not all wood chippers are sharks.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, cool.
Yeah. But so we basically come forward. They're all on the same page. They're trying to kill this shark, right? He tells them about the corpse. Yeah.
Sorry, I just read a note. You are so funny. We're watching this movie, and he's getting flushed into this toilet. Isaac goes, guess you could say his campaign went down the toilet.
Wah, wah. So bad.
It's so funny.
So the old man who's been at odds with them this whole time is like, here, I'm going to help you guys kill this shark, right?
Yeah.
So they find out that it has to be killed with the weapon that killed it.
Yes.
So in his corpse, he finds the crossbolt, right? Mm-hmm. So he's like, all right, so you're going to go into the water and kill this thing.
Yeah.
And so they do that. Great. She stabs this incorporeal shark with a crossbolt. And then there's just this still image of a shark that shakes and starts to form cracks all over it. And then it just like poofs into dust.
Oh, yeah, it's gone.
And it's like, oh, okay, they got it, I guess. That's weird. I thought it was killed with a grenade.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then the shark is back. So I guess it was just like messing with them. The shark's like, you couldn't get me, right?
And through all this, we find out some lore about the lighthouse keeper, that apparently he murdered his wife.
Which everyone suspected of him, which is why he's kind of an outcast in society. But the kids were like, well, surely you didn't do that, right? He's like, no, I did that. No, I did.
Yeah, I killed my wife.
They literally were like just arguing. She like smacks him once, and then he drowns her.
Holds
her under the water, like
drowns her to death.
Hold on, I am not on board with this guy anymore.
Yeah,
why do you want his help?
Icky.
It was terrible.
And he was using that room. He like figured out that room was like a resurrection room of some sort. So he was using that to keep her around or keep her alive. But it never shows that until one time.
Oh yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, in this sequence of events, he's sitting there in the castle or in the
castle dungeon, lighthouse dungeon.
Cool and house. He sees a ghost appear. But it's not a ghost. Do you remember what it was?
It's just a still image of his wife, which is the same picture that's in like the photo frame. They got one picture of this actress. That's all they wanted to pay her for.
I'm convinced it was a girl's headshot who had auditioned to be in the movie.
And they didn't use her, but they used her picture.
Kept her headshot.
Because at first he doesn't want to help them because he's like, no, I'm not going to do this. My wife is in there, right? I need to do right by her. Yeah. And she basically is like through some method is like, you need to go help them,
need to help
right?
these boys.
She
You need
like
to help
uses
these
some kind of
kids.
ghost wind magic to push towards some object. I can't even remember. It was such a stupid moment of the movie.
I loved it.
But yeah, so now the demolitions come back around, right? Because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I don't even know how they know that, oh, they're going to blow up the cave. That's what they want. They're like,
Yes.
okay, we're just going to destroy this whole thing, right? Which is where demolitions expert comes
There
back
it
into play,
is.
right? Also, the guy who's the son of a demolitions expert, his name is Blaze. Little on the nose with that one. right?
Little bit. It's so funny.
So yeah, they make this this huge not even huge, this very short fuse
Yeah.
line.
It's the fakest looking dynamite I've ever seen.
Honestly,
in my
though,
life.
to blow up the shark that's in there, right? And they're trying to dodge it a little bit. The shark is still kind of antagonizing them in this scene. There's also, out of nowhere, a weird cut for a commercial break.
Oh, yeah.
Which I know it was a sci-fi movie, but there had never been one of those the entirety of the movie.
And we paid for this movie on Vudu.
Yeah, it was
so it was so unexpected.
I could not. It was so funny. Like there had never been one of those. But yeah, they go to blow up the shark, and then it's raining, and the shark is like flying down like missiles from the sky trying to get them. They have to
Honestly,
like
pretty
dodge
cool.
it. It was a pretty wild fight.
I liked it. So then she gets into there and she's like, the fuse won't stay lit from the outside. I have to light it from the inside.
Because the rain keeps stopping it, and the shark is trying to get them.
So then she lights it, and the fuse looked really stupid.
Oh yeah, it was so
first
dumb.
off. But she lights it and she says, "Bite me, you bitch."
Oh, kaboom!
Kaboom! The shark is gone.
Directed by Michael Bay. Just this terrible explosion.
But Wet did the effects for this movie.
Oh yeah, special effects done by Wet Workshops.
So that's basically the end of the movie.
Yeah,
I
so
don't even remember if anything else happened.
I feel nothing for them. The only thing I wrote after that was like, they beat the shark. It's done. The thing exploded. Yay, the day is done. And they go immediately into the water.
Oh yeah,
Like, dude,
that's right.
there are still other sharks. Like, would you not be
Yeah.
kind of traumatized about that? And then they just start swimming into the ocean.
Yep.
Somewhere, just off into the
They're gone.
distance. It was just
It's
so
beautiful.
funny to
It's
me.
like it's the equivalent of riding off into the sunset, but you're swimming off into the death set.
pretty good.
The moon. No, it was bad.
But no, so yeah, they swim off into the sunset, and that's the end of the movie. Roll the credits.
okay.
Such a time.
Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about how our expectations ended up by the end of this, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was garbage.
Yeah,
it was hot garbage.
Absolutely.
But it was very fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was great.
And I think that was definitely like just due to the fact that I was watching it with like a couple of our friends, right? We had some
Yeah.
people over to watch this, and I definitely say another one of my expectations was like the humor would die out halfway through, and I think because we had watched it with a good environment, the humor and good time kept up like throughout that, which I wasn't anticipating, right? So note to self, like it's fun with friends.
Absolutely.
If you're
It's
ever
fun
gonna
with
watch this, watch it understanding what you're going into. Watch it to have a laugh, I think.
Don't
And
just
those-
watch it alone.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it will be boring.
And that was another thing that I mentioned too. Like, it was funnier than it was scary. It should have just
It
been a
should have
horror
been a
comedy,
comedy.
right? Absolutely. And I guess the shark was the one I rooted through the most of it, but I was a bit lost sometimes at how things worked and what people were doing. The shark was like who I was there for. I was
Absolutely.
I was surprised by how much the shark looked like Bruce from Jaws, like that
yeah,
animatronic.
yeah.
The acting didn't pull me out of it a lot of the time.
No, it didn't.
But it fits the level of the movie. The movie was not great and the acting wasn't great, and they were right on par with each other. And I was honestly entertained enough throughout the whole thing to not be taking constant notes.
No, me neither.
I was having such a good time that I'm like, I don't want to write a note. I might miss a fun kill, you know?
Yeah,
the kills were
exactly.
so fun.
Yeah.
What about you?
So for me, I mean, my first expectation was some killer dialogue, right? Definitely met that expectation. Now,
tenfold.
I'll admit, when I wrote killer dialogue, I meant it sarcastically.
Yes.
I expected bad dialogue. So really my expectation was not met. Because you got things like, bite me bitch, or calling it Sally Tuna. Or like when the sheriff and the mayor are on the boat, they're like, how are we going to lure it to us? And then the mayor's like, we are the chum.
Oh my gosh.
It's great. It's
They
funny.
had no plan to kill that shark.
No,
They knew absolutely
it was
nothing.
So dumb. But then the horrible characters definitely met my expectations.
Really, though?
I don't remember any of their names except Blaze.
They were great shark food.
Really,
purely
though.
that.
And then maybe some kills. Do you think there were some kills?
Some great kills.
18 kills.
Yeah.
18 kills.
This shark had an 18 kill count. Like, that is nuts.
Incredible.
And they were all pretty fantastic. I loved almost all of them. They were just so fun. So for me, I think my verdict on this movie was that it was a great time. I don't know if I can call it horrible, solely because it felt more like it was a thriller than a horror movie, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. If I want to call it horrible, I feel like it has to be a good horror movie, and I don't feel like it was that. It was a great time, great experience. Pretty garbage movie as far as like acting and effects and editing and all that kind of stuff, right? But like it was fun. It was very, very fun.
I think we
belongs in a different genre.
I think we can still. My wife Emily has her own rating system, which is fun with friends or fun alone or both. And I think I'm going to steal that from her. I'm going to say fun with friends.
Definitely, yeah. So for
fun with friends,
for you, fun with friends. For me, Thrillerble is what I would call this one.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Or Sharkable.
Or Sharkable. You want to hear? I did not find a lot of trivia about this one.
No. What little trivia is there?
So there's a part where they're trying to do some research about the lighthouse keeper's wife, and there's a brief shot of the computer screen, and the news page links to several other topics that kind of sound like sci-fi movies, like SYFY sci-fi. So there's like alligator attacks in Louisiana swamps, ex-government scientists control weather. There's also a link to quote, people watching science fiction movie pause screen to read unimportant text. It's so funny.
Was that verbatim?
That is verbatim. That is what it said.
What?
Crazy. Again, it's like, why didn't you guys just make yourselves a horror comedy if you're going to act like this?
It would have been better.
Really, though. The Shark,
so
which was made by the Shark City Ozark team, also known as Wet Workshops, is a replica of Bruce to pay tribute to Jaws.
Okay, so that explains it.
They were not trying to hide that at all.
No, for sure.
A movie was released in 2015 under the title Ghost Shark 2 Urban Jaws.
Yep.
And according to this, that film had no relation to this film and was in fact not a sequel to anything. We actually, as a bit, we tried to watch some of it. Absolutely unwatchable.
No.
Could not even call it a film. It was just
it had a $5,000 budget.
$4,000.
$4,000 budget, and it was just some guys with cameras.
Yeah, some guys
There's one
cameras.
shark moment, and it was bad.
I didn't understand what was going on. There were never any sharks in the movie. It was mostly an invisible shark. That's how they could get away with it. Like, ghosts are invisible, I guess, but so terrible. But it's so funny to find out that was not even a sequel to this movie, not a sequel to anything. There is not a Ghost Shark 1 that comes before that one.
That's ridiculous.
So terrible. So yeah, there's our review of Ghost Shark 2013. Just when you thought it was safe to go in the water, there's ghosts in it now. And they are sharks and they're terrifying. As if sharks need to be more terrifying. Do we want to tell them what our next film is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So next time, if you want to join us, we'll be watching The Boogans?
The Boogans from 1981. I know very little about this movie. I feel like it has some kind of crazy cult following behind it, but it's got some really interesting monsters, and that's what's pulled me into it. This was my pick of the week.
And I like the poster, so I'm in.
Yep, exactly. We watched a trailer. We're in for a movie, I think. We'll see how that ends up. But yeah, you can go watch that on Amazon Prime if you wanted to check that out before next week's episode comes out.
Or if not, we're going to describe it to you anyway.
Yep.
So it's up to you. Oh no, Willem DaFriend!
Willem DaFriend!
He would have watched us.
Oh,
Rest in peace.
This episode is in honor of Willem DaFriend.
Yes. All right, don't get bit by sharks.
Stay out of the water.
Goodbye.